Hello, it's Callum again, back for Fable. Today I'm going to take you through a pretty quick video where I'm going to talk you through my personal top 5 things you should be doing on Premiere Pro for all you budding video editors out there. And yes, I did just use that phrase. So yeah, let's get on with it right now. So my first thing is to make certain you're always syncing up your audio. When I first started using Clips Recorder on a separate audio and video, I was one of those weirdos that would just go ahead and be like, oh yeah, I need to drag this in perfectly. I need to make absolutely certain that it's, you know, right there, that it's absolutely spot on. There's actually a much easier way of doing that, and that is to essentially go onto your clips, drag them both onto, not a clip, sorry, your audio and your clip, drag both of them into the actual timeline, essentially select both of them, and then right click and click synchronize. Now Premiere will essentially go ahead and synchronize this footage for you with the audio that you have recorded afterwards so that it matches up and looks a hell of a lot better. So isn't that just lovely? So let's move on to number 2. Now number 2 is also audio related, and that is the audio gain tool. I'm pretty sure you've seen it, or I'm pretty sure you've used it at this point because it's a pretty basic tool, but if you want to just batch increase the volume of your audio timeline for certain clips, let's say you've got a speaking clip that's being overpowered by the music you've attached to your video, or vice versa, you want to have the music to be a bit more overpowering in this situation. Whatever works basically. The audio gain button is a super effective tool for that, because of the fact that plain and simple you can just turn up or turn down the volume as you please and just see what works. That's the whole point of it really, so yeah, fingers crossed you find the right blend for you. Moving on to number 3. Now number 3, surprisingly, isn't audio related, it's actually something to do with video for a change, which is a bit of a change of pace considering that this is meant to be a video editing software, but that is to utilise lumetric curves. Now if you wonder what lumetric curves are, it's basically a way to increase the shadows on the darker parts of your footage, increase the highlights on obviously the lighter parts of your footage, and basically just find the right blend, because yes, you can use lumetric presets which are nice, but ultimately sometimes there'll be certain footage there that just won't really suit with any of the presets and you'll have to go ahead and do it for yourself. This is where lumetric curves comes in, because ultimately it's just an easy and quick way of being able to find that perfect style for certain shots and certain, like, let's say you're doing a short film and you want to make your own style, for example, for the actual contrast in colours and that. Doing just the contrast slider, or like I said, a lumetric preset might not really work for that. So this is where lumetric curves can come in and help out. So yeah, just have a play around with it, see what you can actually find, see what style suits for you for your short film, and just go from there really. So now we're going to move on to number 4. Number 4 then. Number 4 is to copy and paste using Ctrl-Alt-V, and this will copy and paste your attributes. I forgot to mention that part of the title for this point. It's essentially just a shortcut tool, that's all it is, and I've started using it a little bit more recently because it essentially saves you a hell of a lot of time. So again, moving back to the lumetric point, let's say you're obviously wanting to carry this style of this shot throughout your film. Well, this is just a quick and easy way of doing that, because you can just essentially go ahead, copy it, and then essentially, like I said, just use Ctrl-Alt-V, and it will paste in the attributes for, let's say, colour, audio, whatever you want to add into there, it can essentially paste it through for you. So it's pretty much a really handy way of saving a hell of a lot of time and making certain that you don't have to go through every individual clip constantly, you know, just editing it again and again and again. Yeah, you probably will have to make some changes to it, as you will for most shots, because ultimately no two shots will ever look the same in terms of like the colour, in terms of how light or dark the shot is, because of obviously it might be a different area you're shooting in. So yeah, you will have to do maybe slight changes to basically make sure that while it does suit in with the previous shot, it also doesn't look overpowering for that shot as well, if you get what I mean. So obviously, let's say for example you've gone ahead and added a hell of a lot more contrast and a hell of a lot more darkness to one shot, because of the fact that it's like a little bit more like of a subtle part of the shot, like it's not overpowering, but then for the very next shot let's say 80% of it is like a darker shot. So obviously, because of the fact you obviously turned it up for the last shot, you will obviously therefore have to turn it down for the next one, because of the fact that you don't want it to overpower. Well, maybe you will, but let's say in this situation you don't want it to overpower, you'll obviously need to turn it down for that very reason. Anyway, enough of my waffle, let's move on to point number 5, and also the last one of this video. And point number 5 is to utilise time remapping. Now if you're wondering what time remapping is, it's essentially a better way of doing either a sped up shot or a slowed down shot. Because obviously you can use the speed duration button, which is essentially just one where you slide up the speed of it from 100% to maybe 50 or 200%. And while it does look okay, especially if you use it as optical flow, that way it works a hell of a lot better. It's nowhere near as good as time remapping, because with the speed duration one, it is literally just a case of you can go from one shot and then you can just cut it and then say so it's a bit slower. Whereas obviously you might not want that. You might want it to be a situation where it gradually slows, as I'm going to show on screen when I'm talking about it. You know, the differences, because ultimately if you want it to gradually slow down, let's say you're doing a shot of a car drifting for example, you don't want it to just be like full pace and then just immediately just the very next frame it being, I don't know, 50% pace, because it just won't look as good. Whereas if you can get it to gradually slow down as it's drifting, in terms of the shot, it will look a hell of a lot better because of that, and it'll look a hell of a lot more professional. And plus it'll just look cool as fuck as well. So yeah, definitely utilise time remapping rather than using speed and duration, just because of the fact that while it does take a little bit more time, it's well and truly worth the actual results of it. Personally, I've used it as well before in like a short film I did back in, I think it was 2015, when I did a really cringy superhero short film. I ended up using it to pretty much increase the speed of one of the characters in running, and it makes a world of difference to your shots, and like I said, can make it look cool as hell if you're wanting to do that for a short film, for example. But anyway, that's my 5 things that you need to learn on Adobe Premiere Pro. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and make certain to subscribe to Fable, comment down below, and drop a like as well please. Cheers, bye.
Thank you.